Hey guys, we are live here with Tyler Watkins and first time on the Barbell Spin podcast, John Young. How are you guys doing?
I didn't realize it was your first time, John.
I didn't know either. That's going
Yeah.
good.
All right. All right. So the Open's over. They're still validating scores for whatever that's worth. Hopefully they'll come out with some final scores here in the next day or two, at least as it relates to 23.3 and validating Danny Spiegel's top score and Tola's top score from this week. As we think about the women's leaderboard, Tyler, are there any overperformers you think, just from looking at the final results of the Open on the women's side?
Yeah, I have my list. We had talked about doing this. I'd kind of just the first time looking through this was like yesterday, and then today to like really look at it, and it's like I don't even recognize the leaderboard. Like none of the same names are at the top. It's like a total wild situation. But like, I mean, I have a list. The first like couple that stand out to me are Alex Gazan, Ellie Turner, and Alyssa Fuliano. And there's a couple others down the list, but Alex Gazan, do we know how it's said?
I think either will work.
Yeah. I pulled her up. Let's see. She has been slowly working her way down the leaderboard the past few years, 317th and then 139th, which is good. She's a good athlete. I just didn't expect this type of performance from her this year.
When you see something like that, do you think they may be peaking too early?
No, not with her, not in the camp that she's in. She's a good breather, but like a lot of these girls, like the first thing I did this year is I went down the list and I was like, okay, did you have a crazy thruster? Or did you have one standout performance that just carried you up the leaderboard? And like Alex doesn't. And so it's like, that's the first pass I'm doing for everyone. Did you have a standout performance or a really bad performance that doesn't make sense to your classic thing? And Alex doesn't have one. They're pretty much straight across the board, pretty good. So I was happy to see her that high.
Do you agree with that, John, on, some of these athletes, I was at Proven on Sunday, and Nick Johnson said really the whole intent of their camp is do it right. Don't set yourself up to have anything invalidated and just make it to quarterfinals. When you see somebody like Alex, who, obviously she made it to the game, she's doing well. Is she peaking in your opinion, or?
No, I don't think she's peaking. I think some of these athletes try harder in the Open than other athletes. I think some go one and done, and now that there's money offered in the Open, people got a reason to redo workouts. We saw Colton Mertens redo a workout to jump Tyler Christoffel for third, and that's $2,500. So I think some people try harder in the Open than other people. That doesn't. As far as ranking one through whatever in the Open, it doesn't mean a lot to me as far as performance-wise. Quarterfinals really doesn't either. It's kind of just a checkpoint. Like the NFL Combine, if you run a fast 40, that doesn't mean you're a good player, but it's a checkpoint that you're not a bad player. Does that make sense?
Yeah. John Wellborn used to say, look like Tarzan, play like Jane. It's like, yeah, you can have all these cool metrics, but they won't mean anything when we get out on the field.
Yeah. And like the like Tyler said, he looked at the thruster. I looked at the 23.2A because that's all engine. That's how fit you are engine wise. The thruster means nothing to me. If somebody had a light thruster and it offset their leaderboard as far as the Open goes, it really does not matter. Like that individual those people will be siphoned off in quarterfinals because quarterfinals, only the big dogs make it as far as strength goes. So everybody that had an outlier on the thruster, low weight wise, will not make it through quarterfinals. And then likewise, if you were at a really high thruster, but we're low in everything else, you're not going to make it through quarterfinals either. So 23.2A though, that's engine. Everybody does that. It's literally how fit you are cardiovascular. So I looked at who had a low score in that, and that would be concerning to me. Again, it does not matter that much, but it would be something I'd keep, like, I would look at them in quarterfinals to see how they do. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Likewise, if they had a really, really high score, I'm like, man, they're in the right spot engine wise.
That's interesting. So I wrote an article this afternoon on which open workout was the most correlated to the overall standings. Have either of you guys seen this yet?
I hadn't had a chance to.
Yeah.
It was one of the ones I marked to read.
Yeah. So John, I don't know if he cheated off of this, but 23.2A had the highest correlation for both the men and the women.
That's
on
really
overall
weird.
standings for the top 200, right? So I wasn't going through hundreds of thousands of people.
Okay,
It's
top
looking
200.
at the top 200. When you rank correlate those, which workout stood out the most? And 23.2A was for the men, and 23.2A was for the women, which is kind of surprising to me.
I agree. I did not think that was even going to be remotely close.
Yeah, and then
Why not?
Because of the ringers who exist in this. I mean, like, I made a post about this today, and it's like, you can sandbag B if you want, or you can sandbag A if you want, and you can't. To me, I think Bosman screwed up by programming this one in the open. I like it as a workout, but I think he screwed up programming it in the open, because you have the people who are going to do like they did in whatever year the clean and jerk, the 1 rep max clean and jerk was in, where they just do 1 rep and then move on to the thruster, or they totally spend themselves on A and then go to B. But if you're only running it for the top 200, that makes a lot more sense. It's just, why do you think? I mean, I hear you on the, like, it's a good metabolic conditioning test, but like, there's so much that's not tested in 23.2A. So how do you think it makes sense?
Because the person with the best engine is going to win that workout. And the people who make the games have the best engines. They do. I mean, yeah, there's some weird guy in Russia who all he does is jumping burpee pull-ups and shuttle runs. That guy will be up there. There are less of those guys than guys who can thruster 300 pounds because they're strong.
Yeah.
There are less guys that can do 180 freaking reps on that workout, where everybody at the games can do 160 to 170. Everybody. They all can. But very few specialists can, even though they are out there. It is not the case with the thruster, and it's not the case with the handstand push-up work. Like the CrossFit workouts, 23.1 is a CrossFit workout. I'm surprised that one's not higher. But 23.3, I mean, if you're just a handstand push-up machine and you're pretty strong, you can get in there. I mean, those are specialist workouts. I had a very good score on 23.3. I'm nowhere close.
You're speaking from first-hand account, aren't you?
And I'm nowhere close to a games athlete, right? But 23.2A, you can't fake 170 reps.
Yeah, that's true. Like, you had to really want to hurt to keep going. And so I won't argue with you there. It just seems it's so. But Bosman did talk about this. I can't remember in what podcast he talked about it in, but he was like, he's interested in how much you can strip away and still retain the same stimulus or the same effect. So basically the same standings on the leaderboard. And this was very simple. I mean, you strip almost everything away. It's running and burpees. So just breathe. And it's like, yep, that's funny to me. We'll have to track that as the year keeps going forward.
The correlations.
Yeah. Like on all the workouts.
Oh, I'm interested with the games. The games, like what games workout correlated. You should run that for every single year, and we could create an ultimate workout that makes the fittest person, and then you can just train for that workout, and then
just do these.
You just train that workout once a week, and then you'll be a games athlete.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of surprising, and you look at, like, I looked at the average finishes in that article too, and you saw that the men's workout, or the men's 23.2 A and B, the average finish for those top 200 is way lower Like it was in the 400 or the 400, 800 range, and the women was in the top 200. So you had those outliers on the men's side in both sides that pushed all these guys down. You didn't see that so much on the women's side.
Yeah.
That's because the best women are the strongest women too.
Yeah. So talk about the overperforming women. Anybody on the underperforming side, John, that you were a little disappointed to see, even though it is just getting through the checkpoint, you thought maybe, why were they so far down?
Laura Horvath on 23.2A. So I only looked at 23.2A. I didn't look at anything else because I didn't think anything else mattered. And what's kind of funny is Laura Horvath on a strict handstand push-up workout that's super hard for everybody else. She gets 10:36 on that. Does great. Does fantastic. But what is her score in 23.2? 145. Andrew Hiller beat that walking, and if he can beat you walking, you didn't do good as a games athlete. And like that one was shocking to me because that's running and jumping pull-ups. I would think she'd be good at that. That was the most shocking to me. Again, I don't think it means anything, but Laura Horvath has one of the best engines in CrossFit. And for her to be that low, I mean, there were multiple guys in our group chat that beat that score, and none of us are that good.
Yeah, I mean, every time I see her posting, she's always lifting. And so maybe she's just not in that stage where she's ready for that type of, that worried right now of engine capacity.
To piggyback off that, last year she got 103rd in the Open, and she got second at the games again. So it's like, if every year you're just like, why should I put more energy into this when it doesn't pay off? Like I'm guessing she might have figured she could win 23.1.
Well, she was live, so
right, that she was live, hard. But she might have figured
it.
Yeah, so it gets 2 attempts.
So it's like, okay, let me do this so I can win some cash. But besides that, like, why do I really care? Everybody keeps talking about the worldwide rankings and what they mean, and it's like you should do stuff for your community. I think that's a bunch of crap. It's like the Open still doesn't matter to these elite individuals. So why, like, if you're in a situation like Laura, I mean, it's like put a good effort in and then just move on.
Like Alex Kazan being as high as she is, like, does nothing in my mind to think she's better than Laura Horvath. Because the Open, I know I hate it when people say the Open doesn't matter, but if you're an elite athlete, it really doesn't matter. The top 3 people that win are all really young people. I'm willing to bet when they're 24, they stop winning the Open. And it's not because they're not as fit.
Yeah.
I still think go ahead.
Yeah. So Mike jumps on. It could be said if you know you aren't going to win a workout or concerned with winning the Open, do just enough. Yeah. I mean, I would say that's in some degree, even if you win it, you're then put in the spotlight like Scott Tetlow was, of having your score looked at, and next thing you know, you get a penalty and you're being talked about. Versus if he, just got second or third place.
He thought he could win that workout, though.
He did, but he put himself up for criticism from that, and it was a minor penalty. We get it, but he could have been said that he was trying to cheat the standards and be DQ'd, and that's just because he was in first overall. He gets the video seen. I don't know how much CrossFit's looking at these videos in a week turnaround. I mean, I know they have weeks 1 and 2 to have time, but it's a fast turnaround to get quarterfinals.
You know who I was impressed with?
Top 10. Go ahead.
Was Paige Powers, because she just came off winning Wadapalooza, right?
Yep.
And for her to get second in the Open and she just won Wadapalooza, that is a name that's like soaring. If she continues going how she's going, I wouldn't be shocked if she, pushes for that next tier. I don't think she'll be like Mal, Laura, Tia tier, but the tier underneath her with 5 other girls that are top 10, I could see her in that tier next year.
But see, what's what's interesting is she has a 90th in 23.2A, which we said correlates the most to the finish, right? So
Yep.
going on throughout the year, like that's an okay finish, but several women in the top, the top 20 have a better finish than that. Okay. So going forward, like just note, like she might fall, that these other 3 workouts are carrying her higher than she deserves. So watching her in quarterfinals would be important.
That was my criticism or concern of reading too much into Wadapalooza is the workout styles are not as demanding and long as the CrossFit Games workouts. And so 23.2A kind of shows that, yeah, she's great compared to the rest of the world, but when you put her on the stage against the top athletes, she may take a 25th or 30th in a workout, and that's just not going to be enough to be in that top 5, top podium spot. So
best place at Wadapalooza for women was 17th at the games. That's what it was worth to me.
Yeah.
That's very fair. That's a very fair point.
Men's side, John, anybody on this side that you were impressed to see up there?
See, like again, it's hard to say. It's because I don't know if I'm impressed or not. Like Roldan Goldbaum, whoever that is, great job. You did awesome. We'll see you in quarterfinals. Like I don't know what to say for that. Jeff Adler, this is his second time winning the Open. Yeah. I think he won last year.
No, Saxon won last year.
Or the year before last year.
He doesn't want you to see.
2021. It's interesting that Jeff Adler's really good. Like, I mean, he seems to really like the Open.
That's what I talked to Brian Friend about. I'm sure you guys talked to him about it too, about how the man who finished within the top 100 the last, forever, Jeffrey Adler's the only one left. And so it was funny because he told me that I think on before 23.2, and then Jeffrey Adler goes on to win the Open, and I was like, oh, that's really neat. Like John's saying, like I don't really know what to see. Like some of these names at the top, I expect to see here. I went down to Tim Paulson before I was like really thrown off. I was like, you're real tall, like you're not an Open athlete. So it was weird to me that he was that high.
What was his handstand push-up workout? I bet he murdered it.
Right. But then the other ones are relatively low, like 200 and something across the board. And then he gets an 8th. And it's like, they're not relatively low. They're not bad by any means, but it's like, usually you see these guys doing, top 100 finishes across the board.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, and if you followed him, he's been traveling back and forth from New York to Nashville every week, and he's had flight issues at least one direction every week. So to put up these performances, dealing with the flights, dealing with headaches of travel, and then putting third week in a row, and he gets out there and throws up an 8th in the world is pretty wild.
I don't know. That workout was made for him.
Yeah. Another Nashville guy we need to talk about is Morad. Will. It's like people talk about how Travis Mayer never gets any attention. Will never gets any attention. He's still 32nd, and he's 34 years old. He's still going. Yeah. And like he didn't take a good placement in the thruster.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, okay, go Will.
And he's been training for an Ironman on top of it.
Is he really?
Yeah. So he's I think he's doing an Ironman triathlon, I think sometime in August, maybe after the games.
Yeah, why not?
So
you're all revved up. Just go ahead.
I mean, he when I was out there, he was actually still in Dubai. He went with Street and Noah and Chandler and a couple others to go compete in that obstacle course race out there, thinking they were going to win, and they didn't do so hot, but still did well on the 0.3.
Bye, Brian. I guess we'll take over from here. I wonder if the stream keeps going whenever we're going. We can't move anything.
I don't know what happened there.
He took it off.
What
No
happened?
idea.
He couldn't take being off of the stream. He had to take us off.
Yeah, I have no idea what happened. I touched the mouse and it just killed everything.
Are we still live?
Yeah, it says live up there.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're still live. So, all right, so we're done with the Open. How do we think that's gonna? When we look at the quarterfinals, the tests that we've seen so far, how do we see quarterfinals when we think about Boz programming for it? Tyler?
John's about to explode.
No, go ahead.
All right. So that I think it's funny. Like the thing, I don't know if anybody saw what I posted on Instagram today. I don't mean to keep harping about it, but it actually is pertinent to what we're talking about here. He seemed to lean more on weightlifting in the Open, and so with his style of programming, I would think he pulls away. He creates like an offset to the things that he's tested for. So I really don't think he tested gymnastics. Like when you're at the top, I don't think he tested gymnastics all that much. Like the handstand push-ups weren't that much of a limiter for anybody who's that got into that last part of that workout. So I would say we see more skilled gymnastics. And then I think we're actually going to hurt in quarterfinals. I say I made it barely. But I think like that stuff like that Hiller talks about, like that you need to feel like you're going to die right in the middle of the workout. I think that's coming.
Nope, he's going down. John, do you agree?
Are you okay?
I'm good.
What
I'm not too excited. Yeah. All right, this podcast is going downhill fast.
I think we tested gymnastics a lot. I think the limiter for the first workout was how good you are at ring muscle ups. For the top people, it's how fast can you get through those ring muscle ups. Okay, and then can you push the rower after that? And new handstand push-up standard was a more gymnastics test. If you were strong, how fast you can get through the handstand push-ups was the workout for you. If that 225 bar, which for the elite people, it is not heavy, the handstand push-ups are the workout. Who wins the workout is who's the best at the handstand push-ups. Tim Paulson, Will Morad both crushed that workout. That's because they're filthy at handstand push-ups. It's not any other reason. So, I mean, I think they tested gymnastics a lot. I do think they tested weightlifting more than years past. But I almost think he's just making up for last year, because last year they didn't test weightlifting at all.
Right.
135-pound thruster was the heaviest thing we did for weightlifting. So it felt like it was making up for last year to me, in my opinion. But I don't know. I know we'll see bar muscle ups because there was ring muscle ups in the Open. I kind of like play off of like that. What movements do we see in the Open will dictate what we do in the quarterfinals. Because usually it's bar muscle ups and there's ring muscle ups in the Open or quarterfinals. So it'll be some bar muscle up workout. I think we'll see heavy clean and jerks because we saw heavy snatches this time in the Open. And then, like you said, like as far as hurting, there's always going to be some 7-minute burner. You know what I mean? I don't know what they'll do for handstand push-ups. I think we'll go wall facing handstand push-ups.
I think we're done. We might handstand walk, but I don't think we're going to do any more.
Well, handstand walk for sure.
When I say hurt, I mean those 20 minutes. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I'm having to keep a pace that is not fun, and I don't want to. I never felt that this year. And granted, like, maybe I'm just not fit enough or whatever, but like, it just never.
Maybe you're too fit.
Maybe that's what it is. I'm way too fit. Yeah, it's just like those. Like, you look up at the clock and it says 5 minutes and you got 15 more to go, and you're like, how is it not 11 minutes or something like that? How am I not halfway in?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I mean,
that's
there's
coming.
always one of those for quarterfinals. The
Yeah.
GHD pistol rope climb workout was that. I bet whatever we do with a kettlebell, I think will be part of whatever long workout there is. I think the kettlebells will be involved in that. Like whether it's kettlebell snatches or goblet squats, I think the long workout will have the kettlebell in it.
Kettlebell
But
front squat.
there's always a max lift, there's always a long workout, and then there's a high gymnastics workout, and then a very short sprinty workout. And then the other
He's
one,
talking about 220. He's talking about 2021. In 2021, there was but last year the burner was
the shuttle runs was the long workout. Yeah, the shuttle runs, wall balls.
Yeah, that one was so bad. I hated it, but it's also everything I'm bad at.
I heard Brian Friend talk. I think it was on maybe Talking Elite Fitness. He thinks maybe possibly no barbells.
I would be stoked to see that at the quarterfinals level.
We didn't use dumbbells, so we're definitely going to use dumbbells and kettlebells. I can't see them not using a barbell because there's got to be a max thing. You know what I mean?
There done a lot of 2017 at regionals. What? There wasn't at 2017 regionals. It was all.
This isn't regionals.
I mean,
it's regionals light.
You're testing a huge field. Like I could see no barbell except the max out thing. You know what I mean?
That could be.
One thing that came across my mind was we did this workout last year: clean, bench, overhead squat. So we have done a lot of pressing, I feel like, and so. But I would be interested to see if we have a dumbbell bench in the middle of a workout.
That's
that
hard
would be
to
cool.
judge.
Because, yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. But anyway, now we're just speculating on what we might see. But what your real question was what, Brian?
Basically, can we take what we've seen in the Open and
see it in
foreshadow how it's going to play out into the quarterfinals?
What I wanted to say with Alex Gazan is that like I'm looking for the fact that she improvement in the Open, even though the Open doesn't matter, is still good improvement, especially when I would not expect that for her. But for the most part, this is just a checkbox for me. In the Open is just a checkbox. You showed up. Thank you. Next. And so I don't think what we saw in the Open, the leaderboard, means hardly anything in quarterfinals.
How similar do you think this leaderboard, if we took the top 10 men and women and we fast forward to the quarterfinals, will it look similar?
No. 2 out of 10 people. That's my prediction.
2 out of 10 remain. We got to come back.
Mal O'Brien and Emma Lawson. Maybe Arrow Lowen.
I can see Brooke. I'm going to say 5.
I could see Brooke and Amanda, but I'm just going to throw 2 out of 10 out there.
5 of 10. We got to come back. We got to circle back on this one.
All right, everybody, keep us honest. 2 and 10 on the men's side.
Let's go to the guys. The guys have more of the top guys there.
You got to keep in mind Tola won't be.
Tola's out, yeah.
He's out.
Oh, he wouldn't make it top 10 anyway. So
I love you, Colton, but I don't see you finishing top 10 in quarterfinals.
Why? Because if there's shuttle, their rope climbs are not his friend. There's just too many things that could come up.
Yeah, you got monsters that still live in quarterfinals that can lift really heavy weight. You got freaks that are better than him at gymnastics. Colton is great across the board, but I think the things that he excelled at, I think they're just going
to. A rower and rope climb by itself will take him out. If there's a rower and a rope climb a rower in a workout or a rope climb in a workout, he's not coming. He's already too low.
What do you want to bet Sam gets first in quarterfinals?
I don't know.
You don't think so?
I mean,
no.
If you're going to bet, I'll take the field if you want to make that bet.
It's just a theory.
I'll say 3 out of 10 for the guys.
So you're saying that the Open is just, I mean,
Useless.
really don't even look at this leaderboard. I mean, they all qualified. Everyone that in the top 100 worldwide rankings that competed, they're safely in. There's no, it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter where Ricky is. It doesn't matter where anyone is really, other than just advancing.
No. Do you think Roman Krennikov is fit, Brian?
Slightly, yes.
Well, where's his name at? It's
Where
not
is
where
he?
we look. Yeah, just hey, don't scroll
17.
down.
17.
You can't see his name in there. That's the point I'm saying.
Fair.
Yeah, I say 3 to 4 out of 10. I think Sam will be there.
I think 5. I think I'm gonna go 5 out of 10 on both.
I'm pulling for Roldan.
I do have to say, I'm going to go probably about 4 for both. I think there's a bit more than what John is thinking, but I think if you're pushing as hard as you are in the Open, you're going to continue to do so in the quarterfinals. And some of them just like the online programming in that format better than in person.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'll tell you who I think will make it too. I think it'll be Jeff. I think it'll be Sam and Dallin.
Not even Ricky.
Huh?
No,
wow.
not Ricky. Whatever Max thing comes out, we'll push him down too low. Quarterfinals is different.
I hope one day you're good enough that you got to meet these guys face to face and compete with them, and they start pulling out all the podcast quotes.
What are they going to say? I'll be like, this was my honest
the only
opinion.
reason I hope you get.
Hey, don't worry.
Continue to get better.
We'll run eventually. You can talk trash then. You know what I mean?
Yeah. When you look at these impacts, and we talked about a little bit about the worldwide rankings, they're not going to put out updated rankings right now. It's a quick turnaround until quarterfinals. Honestly, it doesn't move that much. I think there's 9 men and 9 women, I think, that sat out, who were in the top 100. On the women's side, Europe actually, based on what the current rankings are, it looks like Europe's going to gain at least 2 spots, possibly 4, if Sarah Sigmundsdottir and Annie Thorisdottir are in the top 100. Annie will be.
That's it. So they'll get 7?
No, they'll get 4. They'll add 4 more people to the top 100 into the rankings.
Oh, okay.
So not semifinal spots.
Not semifinal spots.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Sorry.
But Oceana loses 1 because of Kara. Nobody else is in that list.
Can we talk about Tia finishing the workout? She redid it and finished it. That is probably the most insane thing I've ever seen in this whole Open. I don't think there's anything more awesome than just no contact snatching around your big old belly, 155, and doing handstand push-ups 8 months pregnant, however far along she is.
Yeah,
I'm going to put my dog in a room. Give me a second. Okay. Go ahead.
I wonder how much weight she's put on and how – because, I can feel it when I gain or lose 10 pounds in my handstand push-ups. Can you imagine
Tyler,
gaining or losing 30?
You should redo the workout in a weight vest and see how far you get.
Yeah. John's right. I mean, that when I put out that article after the first week, hey, Tia could actually qualify for quarters and give Oceana a chance at getting the 5th spot, an extra spot, 4 spots to the games. It was somewhat serious, but also knowing that there are still 2 more weeks left where, there's a lot of movement that she may not be able to do. Burpees, you saw her, she was modifying how she did the burpees. She couldn't just, flop down on the ground, and, handstand push-ups and snatching, a heavy, moderate weight was wild. And she was top.
So the rule on that, if she competes all she had to do is compete in the Open, and she earns a spot for her region, or is it that she has to do quarterfinals?
she has to pay $50 to be in quarterfinals.
Wow. But then her ranking will be affected. So she has to kind of compete or else. But then again, it's like.
I don't think she
it
cares
doesn't
about her
matter.
ranking.
No, I mean, even with zero
No,
scores,
but we're talking about spots here.
Oh,
she'll still get 60 points for quarterfinals, even if she signs up and doesn't do one workout, just from other people that don't do the workout alongside of her. And she has 34,000 or just under 34,000 points now. So
yeah, she's
she'll still
far
get
ahead
32,000.
of
She's going to be
everything. It wouldn't
second
even
place
matter.
anyway. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
she's still going to be number one in the world up through quarterfinals. Jamie Simmons should move once she gets to the quarterfinals. I think will move up into the top 100. That will give Oceana 5 spots. And so those 5 votes should give Oceana the last unallocated spot to get them an extra, qualifying spot to the games to send 4, which, I think when we found out she was pregnant and Caro wasn't going to compete, there was no chance. And now that looks like they could actually get an extra one, which hurts probably North America West.
Yeah.
That's
because
great. I'm in North America West.
Which we can bring up. We can bring up Bailey Rail. I know it's been talked about before on Savon, but she is in the North America West, competing out of Mayhem, which is interesting. I haven't gotten an answer. I've reached out to CrossFit also trying to find out what's the requirement for that. Like, do you have to show residency? Do you have to, what is the requirement to say that you're in a certain location? Have not heard back, surprisingly.
Yeah, they're probably new to that whole thing too. I was telling people during quarterfinals, it's like, if you live like right where you are, right? Why not find a gym in Nashville? Why not find a gym in St. Louis that you can just drive to and be like, hey, do you guys mind if we do the Open and quarterfinals here? If you're a team, yeah. Why would you not do that? If you
what's
thought you had a
stopping
good
you
chance,
just to fly to Africa?
That's a little extreme, but I mean,
expensive. But I'm hearing you. I don't think that
freaking train at Mayhem. You got money,
Can you do that from America though?
Yeah, it's where it's where you're affiliated for the teams.
Yeah, where you do the affiliate. Yep.
Yeah.
Roman's in America. Asia's probably the easiest one to make it now.
Asia, yeah. Especially when there's 2 spots.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Even for teams.
That one upsets the hell out of me because it's like your 2 good guys are gone, so you don't really deserve any spots.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna
say it out loud. You should get one for representation. I don't mind them.
I like the one rule. I will say the one rule is fine. It still does suck because you got, there's so many good athletes from here and Europe that like could miss a spot that would definitely do better. But it's like the one is fine, but like 2 and 3, I just don't understand. Like even us,
I don't either.
Like I'm okay with giving North America East and North America West one spot too, and then doing the rest on calculation. Like Brian and I were texting a mad fury whenever.
You're okay with that because
the rankings came out.
You know how the calculation comes out. That's why you're okay with that.
Yeah. No, but I think it's fair if you moved it that way, and Asia or South or Africa got or South America got their spots that way too. Like I'm opening everybody up for that. I think that's the better way to do it. Like if you're going to go through this whole process of calculating this like they are, like just open it all the way up.
It defeats the purpose of semifinals then though.
Why?
Because you have your one person from the Open, I guess, right? Like what's your one? Your one person's from what? Just the highest calculation
Your one
number?
person is just based. It's just like, hey, we're giving everybody one spot. Period. It doesn't matter how many people you have. Blah blah blah.
How do you get elected to that? Spot. How do you get that one spot?
Still got to win semifinals.
Yeah, There's
Yeah,
two
yeah.
semifinals.
Yeah. Still the same process, but the number of spots that go to the games from each semifinal
So the winner of semifinals has that spot,
for
Yeah.
at the least, all right, and then
and then they
Based-
calculate it on the way down.
Mhm.
from
That makes semifinals less fun, in my opinion.
I mean, like, I don't see how, but okay.
Because semifinals is going to be like an ultra regional. You know, you get 12 guys to get in, and there's 60 guys competing, right? I think semifinals is going to be like a mini games. I think we'll have like a mini games with the guys competing in it. And if it's just one spot, I don't know.
No,
It takes
I
like
agree with you.
the underdog out of it. You know what I mean? Like we
No.
want to see Colton Mertens get that 12th spot. You know,
Yeah.
that
I'm with you, John. I don't know if I'm in the agreement of how Tyler's laid this out, but I think that when you think about, kind of the curve of all the points, right? The more you get to that midpoint, you're gonna have a whole bunch of people stacked up there with a number of points. And if there are 12 spots available in, say, North America East, there's probably going to be 8-10 people that have a legitimate spot of moving up that last workout on Sunday.
Mhm.
So I think we'll see a lot of great competition there, and make it way more exciting.
You know what I think would be cool though? If you allocated 10 spots, so say top 50 go to the games, and the 10 spots are the 10 highest calculated people, men and women, that aren't already in the games
From worldwide rankings.
from the worldwide rankings. Yeah. That way, that makes them matter. You know what I mean? Right now, they're just numbers to look at.
Well,
Uh,
right now the scoring system isn't the worldwide ranking point system isn't, I don't think, set up for
I guess
that.
after a couple years of
Yeah.
doing it, you know what I mean? After a couple
Yeah.
years of doing it,
It's going to get worse. I mean, they engineered this thing to make sense of the last few years. They made it to where it's like, okay, this looks about right for the last few years. As we go forward, it's going to make less and less sense. It had like an 85% correlation with the games, right? As we move away from the original date, they said this is it. That correlation is going to go. I'll bet you money it goes down to 60.
can you explain why?
Because you're going to have people like they're already combing it. They've already changed the rules. They're taking like Annie was out of the rankings, right? But then they throw her back in. It's like just have the rankings open. And then like people are going to have bad events. Somebody's going to get hurt. Things like that are going to happen. It's going to screw up their points, and it's going to screw up their rankings, right? And it's just like the longer that goes on for the amount of athletes we have, the worse it gets.
Halpin here. If you did a 33 round to hunt allocation, it's not far different than current. Asia and South America would each get one spot. Africa, Oceania get two. Top three share the rest, with North America East getting 14.
I did 40. I did 40 round to hunt method. I mean, yeah, I agree with Halpin.
But it's also the top 100 is based off of a system that was manufactured for 2 years, right? So you sent more people from North America and Europe the last 2
Right, you're gonna
years, and you
qualify
give them more points for it. And then you just have Africa and Oceania who've sent different people the last few years versus South America and Asia have sent one, generally speaking. So, yeah, I see what Mike's saying.
Yeah, it's baked in. You can't wash out what's already. It's implicit bias already.
Yeah, but it goes back to what I've always said is the worldwide or the number of spots to the games should be separate from the worldwide rankings and should be based off of the open and quarterfinal performance.
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Counts as one
performance.
The open counts as one workout in quarterfinals.
I'd be okay with that.
So
you just carry over your place.
You carry your place in each region, and that's your place. So now you have an incentive to actually try in the open
It would make the Open a lot different for elite athletes, for sure. Everybody would try. The fittest guy probably would win.
Right.
Like Medeiros would probably win the Open if that was the case.
Well, and so
maybe not, because it's only 3 workouts, so maybe not. But
But he's not 78th.
But
I don't know what he is in the region, and it may not matter that much. But
since it's only 3 workouts, I feel like Jeff would probably still win.
Let's see.
Especially with the thruster.
North America West.
John, do you get hungry when podcasts start? Be like, damn, I gotta find my Cheerios. Where
No, y'all schedule podcasts, or Sevon does every single time. Like when I can make it is like immediately after my training session.
Yeah.
So like
Yes.
I get home, I have 10 minutes until it starts, and then I try to scarf stuff down beforehand, and I never know how long they're going to be. It's not like we have a set
I'm just
time.
giving you shit, dude. I'm sitting here starving to death.
I didn't eat one time thinking I'm not going to eat, and it was a Wadapalooza podcast. It went 7 hours, and then I was like freaking in Ethiopia for a while. Like,
What were you going to say,
I mean,
Brian?
the North America West, Medeiros is 17th, right? If you gave him 17 points
that's
for
his
workout
worst
1 in
workout
quarterfinals,
finish.
right? Helping once, every workout to count separately. I guess if you rank them amongst quarterfinals, the only problem I have with that is there's, I guess if you eliminate everybody that doesn't make it into quarterfinals, right, and it's only the quarterfinal athletes that you're ranking against, like I'm a little more okay with that. It would give you more scored events. You'd be this year 8 or 9.
He's talking for quarterfinals.
Right. So you basically have all 4 workouts in the Open and plus 5 or whatever 6 scored workouts for quarterfinals that they do.
I hardcore disagree with that.
Tell me.
I don't know how y'all feel.
Yeah.
The Open is meant to get the 7,000 people through it, right? In North America. If like 3,000 North America West, 4,000 North America East. Like it's 400,000 people are doing it, and we have 4 tests. That is completely unfair to put that as your scores for quarterfinals. That actually, because quarterfinals mean something, right? At least you're getting to semifinals from quarterfinals. It's the top there. You cannot test 400,000 people
Old Open
and then count it towards the next step. You can't. I mean, I think the way they have it is correct. It's just people want to complain how the test is given. And I don't mind. I don't mind talking about what's the best way to test those people. I don't, right? But I do not think it should count for the next step. Quarterfinals is tested way differently than the Open is. The Open gets all the cardio bunnies in it. Maybe not this year, but usually all the cardio bunnies get into quarterfinals, and then quarterfinals is a hard separator of let's see who's really fit and who's not.
I do way better in quarterfinals than I do in the Open. In comparison, like percentage wise,
100. I do like to a laughable point.
Yeah, I do like just having at least one workout. The Open standings, you can see it, right? Like Medeiros would enter this in 17th.
I don't mind the whole thing being worth one thing because that's 4 workouts averaged out. I don't mind that at all. But for every single workout to count,
but I mean that would be.
I don't want to go. Go ahead.
It would just make, I think, doing it that way, you'd have an emphasis on the Open. You'd care. You can't finish 300th in your region and advance to semifinals, or it'd be very tough anyway, right? You'd have to be.
I feel bad for Brent Bukowski.
Right.
Yeah, because he'd be screwed.
There's nothing he can do.
I hate to go on like an Open. Yeah, I hate to go.
That's not bad for him.
Yeah, I mean, look right behind him, Ty Jenkins, 17. He's 76th.
17. Go Ty. Good job, Ty.
He's one that I'm watching to see if he can make that leap next year.
Yeah.
right? The men
We'll
you usually
see.
don't see.
I don't. Yeah. I don't know.
That's
I
why
don't really.
I was looking at Jack Farlow because like he's been hit or miss for me, and he is really young, but he did pretty decent in the Open. But his thruster carried him quite a bit. I mean, he had 317-pound thruster. That's ridiculous.
That's
Like
all right.
it's weird to me, like because I thrustered 243, yeah, and it's like I'm kind of close to some of these elites on the thruster, and I'm like, what the hell? That's and then like you thruster 317, you're just like, okay, never mind. Like,
Well, Rich Froning's 268.
yeah, like it's weird to me if I'm in range like that. So that's one of my barometers. But
Your engine wasn't as good, Tyler.
no, I should have walked. I was so mad that I didn't walk in 23.2A.
It
But
didn't help me out.
Well, my pull-up bar was 5 inches above my reach, so nobody can say that I didn't do the standard.
I don't feel bad for you. That's your own fault.
I got messaged that a lot today. There's a lot of people were like, my pull-up bar. I was like, well, that's not part of the test. Like, I'm assuming you have a good pull-up bar.
I mean, it's just what I use.
That pull-up bar.
It's just what I have at home, and I couldn't.
Yeah.
You know, if I lowered it, it was gonna. The 2 notches are either
just step on a plate.
A lot of plates. I'm
Yeah,
not
do
going to. I'm not advancing to quarterfinals. I don't have to worry about it. But yeah.
The one point I wanted to make was that like we start bouncing around, and the base assumption is that we have to get the games athletes through the Open, right? And the longer and longer we do this, the more I'm like, I don't know if this is appropriate anymore. Like, I don't think it was appropriate a couple of years ago, but like it's really rearing its head now to where it's like let's talk about this from like the philosophy of CrossFit standpoint. Like CrossFit's really about health, right? But the incentive in the Open is to be an athlete. Like they push you to want to compete, but then they don't tie that back to health ever. So like we're confusing everyone when we say like, hey, you know, the athletes do the Open, but then we really want you to be focused about health. It's like, well, which one is it? And I think, I don't know how you would do it, but I feel more and more like it's time to divorce the Open and I don't even know if it's a good move, but like, it really feels like we're stepping on our shoelaces here. Does that make sense to you guys?
I don't know what you.
You're saying separate the general population, like
because I think CrossFit's about health, and the Open is the sport. I think the Open's about community, right?
Right, but you can't be the community and the sport at the same time.
Yeah, you can.
Not
everybody
the top level of the sport.
Well, that's what semifinals is for. We're not preaching the semifinals to the public.
What I'm saying is we keep tripping over ourselves real hard during the Open about like, how do we incentivize the athletes to go hard? How do we, how do we make
I see what you're saying. I see what
matter?
You're saying. How do we make it matter to the top people, but still matter to everybody else?
I don't know that those can be together.
No, I agree. I agree with you. And in that case, I think we should just stay with the community because I think the big selling point of the Open is that everybody does the same workout. You know what I mean?
Do you do the Open if you're not competing against the elites?
How do you mean?
Would you compete in it?
No, I think you see that when you
it's
have
the start of the sport, right?
No, I think you see it when you do like when CrossFit did like just the lift, right? Or any of these other smaller things that, or you see the online competitions that are just like, hey, let's just do an online competition. You don't see people doing it just for community or fun, right? Like the people that are signing up are the ones that think they're going to win, and there's only a handful of people that think they're going to win. This, I think, it is a community-based event. I think you make the Open important for the top athletes by including it later in the season. For you got to try in the Open so that it affects how many spots are eventually allocated to your semifinal versus a world art ranking that doesn't change between the two, and make it so that the affiliates can do the workouts and you can test yourself year in, year out, and have a good.
You can keep it as is and just make more money at the end of the line. If the winner
Yeah.
of the Open got $100,000, everybody would try.
Then just don't get mad and get frustrated when all of us come out of the woodwork saying how like the incentives are all screwed up about how we can't, the Open doesn't matter. Don't get upset about that. It's like if it's all a money making scheme and a community scheme, it just feel like I don't know what the solution is, but I think people are starting to feel that they're starting to clash a little too hard. But I wouldn't do the Open if I weren't competing against the best in the world. I don't think I would. I don't do the liftoff or what even of those do we have now? Did they stop doing that?
I don't think they even do it, but even back years
But
ago,
you do it so you see where you are in the world. You know what I mean? You're not competing against Justin Medeiros. You're competing against your peers. You know what I mean?
That's true.
You want to see where you are in the world. You don't want to see you know Justin Medeiros is better than you. You know you can't touch anything he's doing. You're not competing because of Justin Medeiros. You're competing because you want to see where you are in the world. Yeah. And that goes for the 100,000 person who's doing the workout scaled too. You know what I mean? They see if they're 130,000th in the world, and then next year they're 90,000th, they've gotten fitter. You know what I mean?
So what if we just made it that you cannot compete in quarterfinals, or like you cannot compete in a real competitive event if you don't do the Open?
What,
They'll
like other
give you your
off-season
ranking,
events?
but it's not. It doesn't serve as a real qualifier. Like it does is it just checks the box, and that's basically what it does now. But we're out loud saying like, hey, if you win the Open, it doesn't matter. Guys like Rich are still going to compete in it because it's like this is really important. We should push this. But for the most part, it's like it would be more of an exhibition for them than it would be this is part of my season.
You just got to make the Open matter from a point standpoint of what it means to their season. And I talked to Nick at Proven, and I said, do you think anybody on the team will sign up for individual quarterfinals to give North America East or North America West, in Andrea's case, an extra spot in the top 100? And he's like, no. Like Tola and Tim aren't going to do it. Like there's no reason. Like they don't care that much. There's not this allegiance to their region to do it.
No, and that never makes sense to me. People are like, "Oh, you need to compete so that you're helping out your region." I don't give a crap about that, especially if I know that I'm going to be in a spot that's going.
Tia's the only one I think you could say that is doing something somewhat for that. I think she also wants to be in the stay number one, which okay, but other than that, I don't think anybody's going to sacrifice and drop $50 just to stay in the top 100 for anything other than themselves to stay in the top 100.
Yeah.
Right. So
anyway.
All right, guys, we're almost to an hour. Any final thoughts, John, on the Open and what you see going into the quarterfinals?
What did y'all like the Open? I don't think we talked about like if you thought it was good or not. Everybody's got a strong opinion on this.
Go first. Do you like the Open?
Do you think it was a proper?
As much issue. I didn't have much issue as did. I know the street parking complained. I do street parking, and 23.1 was, well, you can't do this in my garage, right? I don't have rings. How many people have rings or don't have rings that would get there, right? So if you have rings, go find an affiliate. But I mean, if you're serious about it, go do it. If you're just working out in your garage and having fun, you probably aren't going to get to the ring muscle ups, right? If you're serious enough, then you know what you need to do. The burpee workout thruster, is it fitness? Yes, but from a test, I didn't prefer it. And on the 0.3, I don't like the gated workouts personally. I know that a lot of people talk about it saying, we'll just get better, right? But if you think about somebody that's new, right, or hasn't been there for very long, and you're saying you got a 6-minute workout, right? Like there's people that have been doing CrossFit for a while, and if you can't do it, then yes, you have a weakness. It's your fault. You need to get better. Figure out where you're weak at. But you're leaving behind a large percentage of the population who it's a 6-minute workout and they get frustrated.
But why are you frustrated? Why are they frustrated?
Because they can't do it.
Because it's
they don't get to go to the next thing that everybody else gets to go to.
Well, if you can't do 135 pound snatch, right? Like you're new to it. You've been doing CrossFit for 8 months. You're running background or something like that, right? And you can't do 135 pound snatch, or you can't do 12 of them quickly, right? You get to it and you stare at it, right, for a few minutes.
So my question to that would be: so you want CrossFit headquarters to cater to that athlete?
Well, that's the question that goes back to Tyler. Is it, what are we trying to find, right? Is it for a community?
The top 10%, and that person's not in it. I'm sorry.
And that's that. But let's go back to like 2000. I say this all the time. Let's go back to 2014 when they didn't have scaled and they didn't have foundations. And it's like there are positive things of having scaled and foundations. But you sit there at the 135 bar and you look at it. Well, now it's like, or you could have chose scaled and you could have done a 12-minute workout and done all this. But that feeling of like, I really wanted to go do handstand push-ups and I didn't get to, you need to feel that. It
will motivate you the whole rest of the year to snatch 155. That way, when that 135-pound bar comes along, you're going to rock it.
Do you know how aggravated I've been for years that I get stuck at the 185 bar on snatch? It drives me nuts. And
I don't
guess
know that
what?
feeling. I'm sorry.
I hate you. But it drives me crazy. Every year I'll look at it, and it's gotten better throughout the years, but it drives me to be like, I'm not going to get stuck there again. And a lot of people, like, I get it. But, like, you want to talk about community, you want to, like, let's talk about driving the vision of the community, which is, like, you have to, I don't want you to feel bad about yourself, but, like, you need to be real and say, like, I haven't put in the work yet. And that's okay. But, like, you need to feel that hurt. And we've gotten to a point where that's not okay.
So many people have gotten their first muscle up just because they got stuck on muscle ups in the workouts, in the open workouts.
Here's Travis.
Yeah. Absolutely.
He also has a bad back, so he'll just blame that. So,
and yeah. I'm going to say, you had to, I don't know how you guys felt, but I feel like to make it through the 6 minutes, you had to be pretty darn just fit.
You could not be.
The 6 minutes was true. Very fitnessy to get through before it got to the hard stuff.
Yeah.
I was mad because I was like, if this first part wasn't here, I'd be fine in the second part.
Like it's real fast, then it got real slow.
Yeah, I was like, slow down the whole time.
Yeah.
I liked the open. It's starting the community. The community feel like we took a real dump in 2018. The community just evaporated. If you were there for that moment, John, did you do CrossFit back then?
I was 18? Like a year into it.
Yeah,
18. I think 18 was pretty good though. 19 was when it got really bad.
When the fall open, it was like the beginning of the death. It felt so terrible, and like slowly over the past couple of years, like Friday Night Lights has come back, and like people are jacked up about the open. I dug that. Like, so the open felt good on that part. I saw a lot of like the thing that I always say is like you have to expose yourself to have a good moment, to have a moment where you're proud of yourself. You have to expose yourself to fear or uncomfortableness. And I watched people do that this year. They did the RX workout when they weren't confident that they could, and they surprised themselves. And it was like, yeah, good. Like, so some of that's coming back. Where just learned. Yeah.
Everybody's learning.
Yeah.
That's what the open is, an educational process. Yeah. It's
Travis, the only time he's gotten ring muscle ups in the open.
It's important. And so, but from a programming for the best, my whole point on Instagram today was that I think Boz has a different style and that he hasn't perfected it yet. The ideas are good. I actually like 23.2 A and B. They just needed to be offset with something else other than the snatch workout. It's like, I think we needed to see something else we didn't see. And so I like the direction that we're going. He just needs to get it right. And I think he botched it a little.
Yeah.
But overall, I liked the Open.
John?
Yeah, I did too. I thought if you really look at the sticking points in every workout, in my head, like the 2A and B, one is all strength. It's more brute strength and technique strength. And one's all engine. I think those offset. I get people being mad about the leaderboard and that guy who can do a 355-pound thruster just doesn't do anything in part A. I get people being mad about that. But where you are in the overall leaderboard is still your average. You know what I mean? Like, if you take my two scores, they're like 93% on average to those two together. And my runs was way below 90, or the A was below 90%, and B was above 90%. But you see what I'm saying? Like, it's still your average. So, like, I didn't mind that. I get people being upset, but I didn't mind it.
What did you end up counting on your thruster? Did you go with the whatever 298?
Oh, I went with the 297. I totally did. Yeah.
I told you not to let that one go. I was going to be really upset if you didn't take that one.
Absolutely. Anyway, but honestly, it was only a difference of like 100 spots. It wasn't even that. It was like, but it looks prettier. And then I think 23.3 and 23.1 were very good fitnessy tests, like CrossFit tests. I get people being upset, like if their weaknesses. A lot of people have a handstand push-up weakness. A lot of people can't do ring muscle-ups. Like, I get it if you're really mad about that. But you just need to get better at those
I think I'm okay with them not being able to get it. I think it's when you do it, if somebody does a 6-minute workout, right, and you see the top getting to go 12, like if you let them have 12 minutes to try to get those 135-pound snatches, or to have more time to do a strict handstand push-up, it may be their first time, right? Just like, what's the difference between that? The leader's still going to go fast. They're still going to finish in 7 minutes. That's really where I was kind of seeing the gated piece of it.
Then people would pace it way more. You have to burn yourself out to get there. They want you to go too fast, like so fast, and then see who can recover on the handstand push-ups.
What was the workout in the game with the row?
Yeah, you had to row 315 on 1,000 meters.
It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing.
And I'll give you an example. Laura Horvath is not better than me at handstand push-ups. Okay, I feel very confident in saying that. She finished that workout in 10:36, but
Still
it's because it's very easy for her. The fitness part, she's not out of breath. She's at her full handstand push-up ability. I am breathing very heavy, dying, right? And my handstand push-ups are slow. I can't do 15 in a row anymore because I'm tired, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's why that first 6 minutes needs to be like that. So you have to go really, really fast. And then who can recover the best, who's the fittest, those handstand push-ups and snatches are easier for you because you're fitter.
You don't see a big outrage, like people super outraged that they didn't make – well, I guess you do, that they didn't make quarterfinals.
You were close.
Brian's pretty upset.
Me? I was 95th percentile. I knew I was going to make it. But
Brian Friend.
Did Brian make it or not?
No.
But like for him, the thruster single-handedly made him out.
Yeah. But it's like you don't. I guess you do hear this outrage about quarterfinals, and it's just like I don't know. Like, I'm okay with people getting burnt by a stove, and then they don't touch the stove anymore. And likewise here, it's like you have to hurt a little to want to go more. And so it's like, what do? It's like the whole Jocko thing. It's good,
Yeah.
Good. This sucked. Do you want to feel it again? Because you will if you don't work on stuff. And so I don't know that, but I'm mean, I guess.
Well, I'll leave it with Wad Zombie. I think half of the Open coming back has been HQ repairing their relationship with the community, and all of the podcast and media outlets bringing back the OG feels. I definitely agree with that. That ever since I've come back, the media side, the talk about CrossFit and how to make things better, and just the discussion has gotten way better than it was 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and it's been good. So, thank you, John. Thank you, Tyler. We'll have to do it again as we get closer to quarterfinals, maybe even next week, and then go from there.
Yes,
Thanks.
sir.
All right. Thanks, guys.